Hearing the name Suge Knight only means two things: fear and terror. From robbing rich kids when he was much younger, to beating up rappers and making people drink his urine, Suge Knight became the nightmare any rapper wouldn't want to have. But after years of terror, he finally ran out of luck, and Snoop Dogg thinks Suge deserves it. Keep watching till the end of this video to see Snoop Dogg reacts. Suge Knight deserves this. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Before we get into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to the #1 celebrity jeweler, the Ice Champ. The Ice Champ is doing a special deal for the next 24 hours on diamond watches, chains, and more. Follow at the Ice Champ on Instagram now. Snoop Dogg reacts to Suge Knight. Fans weren't shocked when Snoop Dogg said that Suge Knight deserved everything he was going through. The two were never really fond of each other in each other's space, even when Snoop was signed to Death Row Records. That never really made him like Suge Knight. While filming for a BET documentary, Snoop Dogg addressed Suge Knight's life in prison, after Suge revealed in his prison phone calls that there would have been no Snoop Dogg without him. He used to be a superstar, now he's just a no-limit soldier. Snoop Dogg reacted to the statement by saying,
"He used to be a CEO, now he's just an inmate,"
while throwing up the middle finger. Snoop once told Suge that he deserved to die after discovering that Suge had planned his assassination. He asked Suge, "Why'd you try to get me popped if you love me? You know what, I forgive you. I ain't gonna do nothing to you. There's outside that want your head right now." In an interview with The Breakfast Club, Snoop was asked how things were between them, but he didn't seem so excited to speak about it, as they didn't particularly have the best relationship. "We real cool. We had a long 3 to 4 hour conversation one time. When I seen him, I was kind of slipping, doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing. And he slid up behind me, and instead of me reacting the wrong way, I just went into my regular mode, and I'm gonna lay up Boo to the side, and me and you can go upstairs and meet. And we caught up on some real love." He continued, "Cause it was never that he hated me. I just think he was disappointed that he couldn't control me. When you got a record label and you got an artist, and I've done this before, you want to control that artist, but some artists deserve their own lane, and you've got to give it to them." For a very long time, Snoop Dogg hated Suge Knight, but it wasn't something he spoke about a lot. However, in any chance he got, he made sure to show his disappointment toward Suge, and how nothing could ever make him like Suge. Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg's long beef history. Before becoming a main figure in West Coast gangster rap, Snoop was an affiliate of the Rollin' 20s Crips and served prison time for drug possession while still a teenager. His experiences inspired his music on the Death Row Records and the Chronic albums, which helped him earn prominent positions on several gangster rap records. He was the protege of Dr. Dre, and worked closely on cooking up classic records and watching their respective stars rise at a meteoric rate. On the other hand, Suge said in an interview that he kept the business end handled, retaining ownership of the label's earnings and giving out rewards as he saw fit, making him gain in both musical equity and net worth. At the height of his post-Doggy Style fame, Snoop was wrapped up in a widely publicized murder trial and was disgusted by the entire situation. In 1996, Snoop and his former bodyguard were acquitted of the murder-assault charge.
"We, the jury in above entitled action, find the defendant, Calvin Brodus, not guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree."
Upon his acquittal, Snoop revealed to the Washington Post what he had been thinking about during his trial. "For the last few months, I've been trying to figure out if I'd be able to raise my son, you know what I'm saying?" At this point, Dr. Dre was already indifferent to Suge's increasingly violent ways, and leaving without contributing production work on Snoop's sophomore effort, The Dogfather. Like Dre, Snoop also grew tired of Death Row's violent content. The Dogfather was a rebirth of me. I'm not gonna glorify none of this negativity that Death Row wanted me to do. I'm gonna bring a positive side of music. With morale low after the death of Tupac and the departure of Dr. Dre, things went even further south after Suge Knight was arrested for probation violation, leading to a 9-year prison sentence. Snoop then left the record label behind and linked up with Master P's No Limit Records, as all hope was lost for the Death Row record label at the time. Possibly coinciding with Suge's forced removal from the game, Snoop became more outspoken about his disdain and irritation towards Suge Knight. A documentary recap from BET highlights an older interview in which Snoop spoke about his decision to leave Death Row Records and never look back. "I was working against the devil, and through the grace of God, Master P and Priority Records put a deal together that was suitable for me." In 2022, their animosity with each other reached an all-time high. Suge and Snoop both attended that year's Vibe Awards, and might have come to blows had it not been for the intervention of that old eternal peacekeeper, Steve Harvey. The beef between both rappers went on for a while, until Snoop decided to end the ongoing beef. In an interview, Snoop spoke respectfully of Suge, describing their relationship as cool as a. He made peace with all the fights and misunderstandings over the years, claiming he had nothing but love for Suge, and was willing to set things straight. Suge Knight's criminal history. Suge Knight controlled the rap game and the streets through violence, but what even made him famous was his unending criminal record and offenses against the law. In October 1987, Suge's future wife, Sharitha Golden, placed a restraining order against him for violating the order by grabbing her by the hair and cutting off her ponytail, resulting in his first arrest. After a couple of weeks, he was arrested again for shooting a man in the leg and wrist as he attempted to steal his Nissan Maxima. Suge's decorated football career helped him out of the jam, and his charges were miraculously lowered to misdemeanors, carrying a $1,000 fine and 3 years probation. Upon leaving prison in 2002, Suge told Newsweek in an interview, "Before I came in, I hung out at clubs all the time and spent a lot of time on the streets. When I get home, that's going to change. I'll be handling my business, making sure it's back on top." But his freedom didn't last long. In December of that same year, authorities stormed the new offices of Death Row Records when a murder investigation led them there. Although Suge wasn't involved in the murder, he was, however, in cohorts with the gang members, which caused him to violate his parole. His parole specifically stated that he was not to be in contact with gang members, so he spent 61 days in lockup for violating his parole. In 2015, Suge was arrested on suspicion of murder over a fatal hit-and-run incident that left one man dead. He turned himself in to the LAPD and was later hospitalized for a possible fatal blood clot. At the hearing in March, he collapsed in court after knowing that his bail was set at $25 million, but was eventually lowered to $10 million. In his recent trial, Suge Knight pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 28 years in prison, and will not be eligible for parole until October 2034. That's the end of today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more content. Thanks.